Hi, everyone. Today we are talking about small talk. And this is a big discussion, a big topic for a lot of us who feel socially awkward, go mentally blank when making small talk, and really just want to know how to feel confident carrying a conversation, how to know what to say, and in the end, how to actually connect with other people and make real friends. So, for those of you who are new here, hi, welcome. My name is Nicole Jean. I'm your people skills coach, and I help you converse with ease in face to face interactions and magically get more friends as an adult. And today we're talking about the three questions you really need to ask yourself when you're making small talk, or better for me to say, before you make small talk. These are three questions you really need to ask yourself and answer truthfully and honestly. And this will help you get better at small talk. Seriously, like literally. So let's go through it. I call these the three P's. Letter P. P as in Paul, or P as in Perry. But the three P's, and that's a really easy way to remember the three questions you need to ask yourself when or before making small talk. The three P's. The first P is, what is the point? What is the point of small talk? What is the purpose of small talk? So many people hate small talk. So many of us feel like small talk feels fake, it feels forced, it feels frivolous, fluffy. You talk about the weather, you talk about the traffic, just things that don't carry much depth, things where you cannot really learn about a person. There are some strategies out there. I don't know if you've seen those, but there are some strategies from other people who say, instead of making small talk, like, how's the weather? How was traffic going to work today? How's your commute? Ask deep questions right away. Deep questions where you'll get really interesting answers and learn more about them. Questions such as, if you were on a desert island, what three items would you bring with you to that desert island? Or if you could have dinner with any one person in the world, dead or alive, who would it be? Or what are you truly passionate about? What was your dream job as a child when you thought anything and everything was possible? And those strategies are fine and they may work for some people, but for the majority of people, it's not going to work. And I'm going to tell you why. How comfortable do you feel when talking to someone new? When you're talking to someone you've never met before in your life, someone completely new, a complete stranger, picture this. You're in the coffee shop, standing in line to get your coffee, to order your double shot latte. There are four customers ahead of you. So it's a little bit busy that morning. It's going to be a little while. And the person in front of you is also waiting patiently. And they turn a little bit, they notice you, you notice them, you guys make some quick eye contact. Maybe they give a strained smile. And how comfortable would you feel about saying to them, what are you most passionate about? What are you most passionate about? What is your dream job? It's a little awkward, right? It's a little awkward. It's enough you're already feeling awkward as your baseline. But to add on top of that, to ask a deep question to a random stranger in the hopes of sparking a conversation, that's even more awkward. And that's why I don't really recommend that strategy of directly asking a deep, meaningful conversation to spark a conversation with someone brand new. There is a reason that small talk exists. There is a reason that people make small talk when trying to connect with each other. There's a reason that small talk exists for over a millennia, that generations and generations, centuries and centuries of human beings on this planet have carried small talk. There's a reason why you can never seem to escape small talk in any going to a social event or when you're standing in line at the coffee shop with other people. What's the purpose of small talk? And the truth is, small talk is a primer. It's a primer for the big, deep meaningful conversations where you connect with someone. You know how when you're trying something new, you try the small version to test it out first, to warm up to it. For example, if you're trying a new shampoo or a new conditioner for your hair, you don't go out and buy the jumbo version the first time you're going to try something. I mean, yes, it'll save you money, it's more cost efficient, but you don't know if you're going to like the product. You don't know if you'll like the shampoo or the conditioner. You might hate it. Your hair might hate it. It may dry out your hair, it may be bad for your hair. Who knows how your hair will respond to it? I know for me, my curly hair is very particular about hair products. It took me years to find the right hair combination of hair products that work for my hair. And so when you try out a new shampoo or a new conditioner for your hair, you purchase the regular size or maybe even the small travel size just to try it out first. After a couple washes and maybe a week of trying it and you decide, oh, I do like it. I do like the shampoo or conditioner. Then you can go out and purchase the jumbo size because you know that you're going to use up the whole product because you really like it. That's the same with small talk. When you're buying that small travel size shampoo or conditioner, that's a primer for buying the jumbo size conditioner or hair or shampoo. Same thing with small talk. You don't know anything about a new person. You don't know what their hobbies or interests are. You don't know what they do for a living. You don't even know how old they are. You don't even know what their values are. You don't know anything. And so small talk is a primer for where you each warm up to each other. You warm up to each other so that you can dive deep into the deep, meaningful conversations. It allows you to lead into the more meaningful conversations where you truly connect and build relationships with other people. Think about the last time you were like walking down the street and some random person you don't know, they were walking in the opposite direction towards you and they looked at you, made eye contact, smiled and said, hey, hey there, have a great day. Doesn't that kind of warm your heart a little bit? Doesn't that make you feel a very small feeling of, oh, that was such a nice, kind thing to say? Doesn't that make you feel a little bit acknowledged as a human being? And it kind of increases that person's likability. Like, oh, that was a nice person. I like them. Um, they're a very kind, warm-hearted person. Is the exact same feeling for others, for other people. Small talk makes you likable. It makes you relatable. It builds warmth in a dynamic, in a connection with another person, in a conversation with another person. How much more excited are you to talk to someone who, when you feel warm and that welcoming energy from them, it makes people want to connect with you. It makes people want to converse with you, and it actually cracks open the door to opportunities. That's how you transform your experiences into opportunities. It's how you create opportunities in your life. Sheryl Sandberg, the author of the book Lean In, and she was the COO of Facebook, or Meta now it's called. She said that opportunities are not given. Opportunities are rarely offered, they are seized. You have to create opportunities in your life. They're not going to be handed to you on a silver platter. We all wish they were, but they're not going to be handed to you. That's just not life. That's not reality. And so you might be asking, okay, Nicole, but how? How do I create opportunities through small talk? Like, exactly how do the mechanics work? And that's exactly what I do in my coaching service, Social Awkward Bootcamp. You get to work one-on-one with me, with yours truly, for 12 amazing weeks. Can you picture this? In 12 weeks, 3 months from now. So right now we're recording this, it's July, middle summer. So in 3 months from now, it's October. It's gonna be the fall, right before the holidays. It's holiday time. You're standing at the coffee shop in line again to order. The holiday drinks are in, all the hype of the holiday drinks are in. You want to order your pumpkin spice latte. I know those are pretty good in the fall. And there's a person in front of you also standing in line, waiting to order. And normally you'd feel nervous. Normally you'd feel awkward, sweaty palms, sweaty armpits, heart is palpating and beating rapidly. And normally the thought of opening your mouth And saying hello just makes you want to hurl. It makes you want to sink into a hole and disappear. It makes you feel nauseous. But instead, you feel at ease. You are actually excited to connect with someone. Your brain is just full. It's like bursting with ideas of things to talk about, things to say. And so you tap their shoulder and smile and remark that, hey, you've seen them here in line before. And boy, I sure hope this line goes by quickly so that you can get your morning Monday coffee so you can wake up and get your Monday started. And that person laughs at your witty line, at your witty opener, your witty or one-liner to them, and they fully turn their body around so they're facing you, and they want to say hi. Which, by the way, in body language, when someone faces their body, their chest towards you, that's a good sign. That's a huge sign that, hey, this person wants to connect with you because they find you interesting. And the moment that happens in your heart, you feel at peace because for the first time, people see your value because you are able to communicate your value. And that's what you want, right? That is exactly what Socially Awkward Bootcamp will do for you. In Socially Awkward Bootcamp, you get the method of how to take small talk to the deep, meaningful conversations where you get to connect with people. It is a simple strategy. It's actually, I'm going to give you a hint. It's one phrase. It is one freaking phrase. You won't believe it. But what that means for you is that you'll be able to connect with other people and find your quality social circle of friends. But the real value for you is that you will actually be excited to engage in small talk. You will see small talk in a whole new light. You'll be so thrilled to open your mouth and say hello because you know that's how you create opportunities in your life. And that feeling, that's what you want, right? And so if you want to learn more about Socially Awkward Bootcamp, I've got the links below, but also DM me Socially Awkward on Instagram. And I would love to chat with you, give you more information. I'll give you a personal video note about it. All right, so that was the first P. The first question you need to ask yourself when making or before you make small talk is, what is the purpose? What is the point of small talk? Remember, what is the purpose of small talk? All right, we're on to number 2. What is the second P? The second question you need to ask yourself when you're engaging in small talk. Am I prepared? And are you prepared to engage in small talk? And what exactly do I mean by that? Let me ask you this. So picture this. Do you picture yourself, you're really confident. Someday you're going to be really confident and charismatic when talking to people. Like that's your ideal dream. That's who you want to be someday. That you never, ever run out of things to say. You're always saying something witty, something funny, and people are just completely magnetized to you. They think you're so fascinating and interesting. They see your value and they want to be around you. They want to be your friend. But does that happen in real life? It's like your dream is like this cloud over your head, this thought bubble, and you take a little needle and it goes boop, and that blows away the dream. It blows away the dream that you have. Like, no, that never happened. Because instead, you go mentally blank in conversations. Instead, when someone asks you, how was your weekend? Simple question, how was your weekend? What did you do? Anything interesting happening? You literally cannot think of anything to say. Like your brain, it's like your brain stops working and you can't help but focus on just the environment around you, the people around you. You're in a room full of strangers. There's a loud hum of voices running through your ears and they're drowning out your thoughts from your brain. And the confident person you are alone at home, the confident person you are in isolation, in solitude, that person's gone. You're like, I don't know where that person went. I don't know where they went. They seem to always disappear when you're in public and you're like this different person who's not truly you, but you're like this different person in the public. And all you can think of is, I am in a complete nightmare. Get me out of here. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound familiar? Because that is my life. Guess what? That still happens to me too. It still does to this day. I still get overwhelmed when I enter a room full of people. I still feel my heart racing with, rapidly, like heart palpitations. My thoughts get drowned out by the loud hum of voices echoing in the room, and my armpits still get sweaty too, my armpits and my palms. But the difference is I'm prepared. I'm prepared for that feeling. I'm prepared to go mentally blank. And I'm telling you, you need to prepare for when you go mentally blank. You can't control whether you'll feel nervous, whether you'll go mentally blank. It's going to happen. That's kind of like a natural physiological reaction to a new environment, to something uncomfortable, an experience that's kind of scary that makes you step outside your comfort zone. But the best way to handle it is to be prepared in anticipation for that. And so stop wishing that one day you'll just randomly stop going mentally blank, that overnight it'll go away, because it won't. And instead of fighting it, let's work with it. And so I always recommend go into conversations prepared. You need to prepare them. Have one or two stories to talk about that you're ready to talk about, so that when you go mentally blank in a conversation, because you know it'll happen, instead you came in prepared and your brain is already a little bit on autopilot, and you're telling a story that you already know by heart. That's already happened to you. You kind of went over it in your head already. Make your brain your friend, instead of having your brain be this other part of you that goes blank and you're like fighting it. Like, why can't you support me? Why can't you help me in these situations? Make your brain your friend, and your friends support you, right? So make your brain another friend of yours. It's just like preparing for an interview. When you're preparing for a job interview, you know the interviewer, the employer is going to ask you the typical general questions. Why did you leave your last job? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Like, those questions will come. And you don't answer those questions on the fly without any preparation, without any consideration or thought beforehand. You prepare in advance because you want to present yourself as the best version of yourself appropriate for that job. It's the same concept. You should always have this Rolodex or bank of stories in your brain, your go-to stories about things that make you you, that demonstrate your value in the world, your value to other people, that make you stand out and be memorable to others. For example, maybe you love salsa dancing. Like, this is your thing, your hobby, your interest. It just makes you feel alive. Have a story about that. Have a story about the last time you went salsa dancing. Or maybe you're more of a homebody and you love reading. I love reading books. I'm reading a new book like every month. Have a story about the last book you read and how it really inspired you, or what you took away with it, how it resonated with you. Whatever you're into, reading, salsa dance, whatever, have a bank or a Rolodex of stories in the back of your mind. That way you're always ready for small talk when it happens. You're always ready to create opportunities when the chance of making opportunity comes. And so that's the second P in the 3 questions you need to ask yourself when you're making small talk is, am I prepared? All right, so we're on number 3. The third P in the 3 questions you need to ask yourself when you're making small talk. And that is, how am I making progress? How am I making progress? Okay, what Nicole, what does this mean? How are you getting better at small talk? How are you making progress in small talk, in your small talk skills? It's honestly not enough for you to understand and acknowledge the purpose of small talk, or even to have a story or two prepared for the next time you engage in small talk. You have to be getting better every single time you make small talk. That's how you transform from someone who connects with others. That's how you transform into someone that connects with others during conversations, during social events. Did you know that the brain is plastic? And I don't mean plastic like the material used to make plastic water bottles. I mean neuroplasticity. If you never read about this, oh my gosh, you need to go Google this later today and spend 10 minutes reading up this. It is fascinating. So your brain is made up of neurons or nerve cells, And nerve cells are the building blocks of the brain and the nervous system. And the brain has the amazing ability to change, to adapt, and even to grow new networks, it can function differently. For example, after people encounter trauma to their brain, like a stroke, any kind of mechanical injury, they're left with physical and mental injuries. Maybe they have memory loss. Maybe they lost the physical function of their body, like they have one-sided weakness where they can't lift their arm, lift their leg, they can't walk, can't carry things, can't dress themselves. Maybe their face is drooped where one eyelid is drooped. Maybe they can't speak or enunciate or even eat or swallow on their own. The brain is able to learn new skills. The brain's able to regrow. The brain's able to recover. The brain's able to adapt and change and learn new skills and grow. And so these people can actually recover from these brain injuries. And, I work as a nurse practitioner by day, and I have seen people accomplish amazing things through recovery. It is amazing. And so the brain is incredibly pliable. It is moldable. What that means is that there's so much research that shows that in order to be successful in life, you don't need to be born with natural talent. You absolutely don't. In fact, you can learn, for example, you can learn to play the piano even if you've never played the piano in your childhood or your upbringing, or your parents or your family are not musicians. For example, for me, I love writing. I've always loved writing ever since I was a little girl. I would write stories for fun that to this day no one ever sees. I did not come from a family of writers. No one in my family has ever published a book. Writing is not in my blood. And frankly, I'm not an amazing writer. I'm not a New York Times best-selling author. I've never published a book, but I know that if I get in my repetitions, if I get in my reps, if I practice my writing skill set, I can get better. I can get better at telling stories. I can get better at writing more creatively. I can even learn to use a wider vernacular, which is AKA is another word for vocabulary, just in case you didn't know. But I need to get in the reps to do that. I need to get into my repetition. I need to repeat practicing over and over. I need to practice writing every day. And one of the ways I do that, this is a little behind the scenes, one of the ways I practice my writing is I create content for you. Like I get to practice my writing skills when I'm writing my weekly newsletter for you, which, by the way, if you're not subscribed to my weekly newsletter, you need to subscribe. I send great resources every week. The link's down below. I create live streams here every week. I create content posts and short videos. So I'm always writing things. The author and motivational speaker, Dennis Waitley, he's the author of The Psychology of Winning. He said, "You are not your personality. Personality is inborn, but behavior is learned." And what he meant was that you are not a prisoner of your personality. You are not a prisoner of what you're born with, what personality you're born with. If you're naturally quiet, naturally shy, naturally introverted, that's okay. That's your beautiful personality. There's nothing wrong with you. Don't fight it. But if you truly want to behave differently from what you normally do, instead of standing quietly in the back of the room and going nicely blank during small talk, if you want to be able to be a charismatic speaker and talk to people and connect with other people and create opportunities in your life, your brain is absolutely capable of learning those skills. The brain could absolutely remold and learn those skills so that you can become that person. You can change your behavior. And so that's what I mean by how are you making progress? Every day, are you getting better at small talk? Are you sharpening this skill set of yours? And by the way, if this still sounds intimidating, if you're like, I've always been socially awkward, Nicole, like, how is it possible to change who I am, who I've always been? If this is what you're thinking, then you need to watch my last live stream or listen to the last podcast episode. It's called The Mindset That Exploded My People Skills. And it's going to skyrocket your people skills as well. I talk about it's going to make you realize that you are not limited by your experiences you've had in your life thus far. if you always felt socially awkward, if you've always been told you're socially awkward, this does not define your life. So go check out that episode after that you watch this one. Going back to this topic of learning a new skill set, allowing your brain to remold itself so that you can actually know what to say in small talk. I don't want you to think, oh my gosh, how long will this take? How long will this take for my brain to learn, to remold, to be pliable, to attain this new skill set and grow and for me to behave differently? It's not about reaching a destination to a point where you feel 1,000% confident in yourself in small talk and carrying a conversation with someone. It's about getting 1% better each time. It's about the small incremental shifts toward the life you want. It's your circumstances of feeling socially awkward are real. Let's acknowledge that. Well, your circumstances right now are real, but they absolutely do not define where you're going, your actions, or who you will become. They really don't. So focus on where you want to go and not where you are right now. It's like, let's say like you're a little seedling planted in the ground. You're like a little seed that has like a little leaf sticking out. You're like a little baby plant, very small, little seedling. How does a seedling grow? You water it every single day. Every single day you water it. You give it time, you give it water, sunlight, and you feed it the right nutrients so it can grow and plant those roots underground. Those just grow those roots underground that you don't see. And every day you work on your people skills. Every day you practice your small talk, you get into repetition, you grow a little bit better, 1% better every day. You are further growing, establishing those roots of your people skills underground, the things that you don't see, but is happening underground. And that's when the roots of your people skills are such a strong foundation, they are so strongly embedded in the ground that no earthquake could uproot it, that no criticism or negative mean things said by some troll on the internet or someone behind your back could shake that foundation, because your roots of your people skills is so firmly established in the ground. It is so strong in the ground. That's what it means to ask yourself, how are you making progress in small talk? Are you improving every day? Are you getting better 1% every single time? And so those are the 3 P's that you need to ask yourself. The 3 questions you need to ask yourself when you're making small talk is, what is the purpose of this? What is the purpose of small talk? Am I prepared? Am I prepared with some stories to talk about myself so that I am prepared for the moment when I go mentally blank, so that my brain is going to be my best friend and help me through the situation? And 3 is, how am I making progress in my small talk? How am I getting 1% better every time? So I hope this was helpful to you. I hope this was helpful in getting better at small talk, improving your people skills, and learning to connect with other people and making more friends. And let me know what truly resonated with you. DM me on Instagram at It's Nicole Jean, and I would love to hear what was your takeaway. All right, I will talk to you all soon, next time. Bye. All right, we are done recording the podcast. Whew. All right. I am always sweaty. See, even I get nervous still, and I've been doing this for like over a year. Anyway, I'm just gonna check on the Instagram. Hi, Kimberly. Hi, Brian. Hi, it's Smurf. Hi, Authentic Journey. Thanks for coming into my live stream. I really appreciate it. All right. Let's see. Another Brian says, practice makes perfect. Yes, you're absolutely right. Practice does make perfect. Although I would refrain from saying perfect, because let's face it, no one's perfect. Perfection is a little bit attainable. I'd say practice makes better. Practice makes you better than yesterday. And the only competition you have is the person you were yesterday. So yeah, but totally agree with you, Brian, on that. All right. I don't see any questions on either the Instagram or the YouTube. I usually try to leave time open at the end of my little mini training or podcast recording for any questions you have about people skills, connecting with other people, carrying a conversation, holding a conversation, because I want to give you as much value as possible while you spend your time. Like you've gave me value investing your time here watching me. So I want to give you back value and answer any questions. But I don't see anything on the live stream. If you're watching the replay here, any questions, feel free to comment below or DM me on Instagram. I'm always on Instagram and I love sending voice notes, video notes. I'm just always active on that, so it's a little bit easier for me. But let me know any questions. Let me know if this resonated with you, if this really hit home, if this was helpful. And I will see you all next week. All right. Bye, everyone.